Hi, I'm excited to share with you today a bit about my trip to Dong That, Vietnam on a 2018 Vietnam Big Build with Habitat for Humanity International. When I went on the trip, I was super excited to go for several reasons. I'd always wanted to take a trip abroad. Uh, I've always been interested in taking a trip to Asia, but particularly I was interested in Vietnam. My uncle had been a Green Beret in Vietnam during the Vietnam War. And so opportunity to go to this country was something that was really near and dear to my heart and made for a very special trip. The Mekong Delta itself, where the trip took place, is really the breadbasket of Vietnam. A lot of the produce and aquatic products are farmed there. We arrived in Ho Chi Minh City on Saturday, November 3rd, 2018. And it was a flurry of people from around the world with their luggage and goodies showing up at this hotel. Quite the spectacle. We were amazed by just the city life of Ho Chi Minh City, the fast pace, all the people buzzing around, and especially all the motor scooters. You really had to be careful when crossing the street. I took off that first day on foot by myself and did a little bit of exploring, went to check out the local bakeries and grocers and drugstores. Really just wanted to see what I could see. I even took some time and went and got my hair cut, and it was great. That evening, we drove to Dong Thap. It was a 93-mile trip, and it took us 3 hours to get there by bus. We had a wonderful breakfast in Vietnam. The food there was amazing. And this is our host hotel in Dong Thap. Dong Thap was a much smaller city than Ho Chi Minh City, a very small city, but it had just about everything there. And this was a large government-run hotel. It looked a lot fancier on the inside than, trust me, it did on the inside. It was very simple and basic, but it was fantastic. In the evenings, nothing felt better than laying down on that bed. The first night, we were treated to a special dinner in Dong Thap by government officials and our Habitat hosts. It was so much fun. They had all kinds of cultural presentations, song and dance that we got to enjoy, along with some great food. The children from the community performed for us, and it was just, again, it was an incredible experience. Monday morning, we headed out on bus to the work sites, and the work sites were in the Delta. So you really were traveling out into the countryside, passing little villages along the way. We would have to stop every day at a bridge. There was a bridge that the bus would bottom out on if people were in it. So we would all have to pile out of the buses. The bus would cross the bridge. We'd have to walk across the bridge and then get back on the bus to go the rest of the way to the little village that we were building in. And here we arrived at our job site. Every job site was prepared with all the materials we would need, with the mix for the mortar, concrete. The foundations had already been laid. The roofs were in place. There was a tent set up for us to take rest breaks in. And the back was the current home of the homeowners. So it's very open to the elements. It's a wooden structure, so it leaks, and was really probably not a super safe place when heavy rains would come. So this brick and concrete structure was going to be a much more stable, protective environment for the family. One thing we found out really quickly was not only is it very hot in the Mekong Delta, but the work was exhausting. When we stopped for lunch and it was a big buffet, we ate and ate and ate. And then we'd take sometimes a nap on the stage. That was probably the coolest spot where we'd had our lunch breaks. And so we'd go climb up on that stage and just laying on the ground. Now I know why dogs like to lay on the ground, because it felt great. back at it. I was learning to be a bricklayer, and that was a lot of fun. Just applying yourself to a new skill, working alongside others. I was largely working with people that worked at other habitats, and so got to create some great relationship with some staff and board members at other habitats. These are not the most glamorous shots, but there are some shots of me in action, having a coconut drink that the homeowners provided at one of our breaks, and bricklaying. This was about the time that the bricklaying was getting up to our head level, and we knew that soon after that we were going to be on scaffolding. When we'd stop for those bus stops to cross that bridge, we would look around the local little villages that we were walking past. And I noticed one day incense outside of this building and realized that we were at an incense factory. So took some pictures there. We had a lot of great people that showed up at this build, I guess, because it was a big build and we had 250 people from around the world there. It did bring in some additional habitat leadership. And so Rick Hathaway is here. He was the area executive VP over Asia Pacific, and he showed up and worked with us for a while. So he and I were both pretty hot and sweaty in this picture. One evening, I think it was Tuesday evening, we had pizza dinner. So we would sometimes venture out. Sometimes we had orchestrated dinners by the community that were already set up, and sometimes we got to venture out on our own. We found ourselves a pizza restaurant and enjoyed some really great pizza. Behind us was a group from Australia, and we had some other people show up. I think we had 6 electrical outages that night. We also found out they liked pineapple. Pineapple was on everything. Here we were dancing with the homeowners in their current home. They were just so sweet and so accommodating, and they always wanted to play music for the ladies during our breaks. And this particular time, they managed to talk us into getting up and dancing with them for a bit. We actually got in trouble by the police. They showed up because of all the noise, and we had to, believe it or not, apparently that wasn't too cool, and we had to cut it down, but we were having a lot of fun together. This was a break time at the build site. The homeowners would go all out, just trying to treat us as best they could to some of the specialties, the exotic fruits and treats that they enjoyed in Vietnam. And we enjoyed experimenting with all of it. Here I am with my instructor who was teaching me how to lay bricks. I spoke no Vietnamese, he spoke no English, but we would learn through hand signals. He would tell me when I had it right, he would give me a thumbs up. When I didn't have it right, he would tell me start over. And we managed to communicate pretty well like that throughout the week. In the back of the building where the family lived, they also had their own little frog farm. So apparently they were growing frogs to sell them. At this point, we thought the frogs were huge, and she explained to us they would get about 4 times that big before she would sell them for food. But she wanted to send some back home with us. That was kind of fun. Here's our family, and behind them is where the toilet is. And over to the right, the blue and white stripe, that's the tent under which the frog farm was. And in front of the construction, there was a banner that showed what progress in picture form we were supposed to have every day. And we did stay very much on track with the progress on the banner and the instructions we were given. The evening of November 8th, Thursday, Kelly Koch, who was Habitat for Humanity Vietnam leader, recognized our local affiliate for our tithe support for Habitat's global vision. And it was really kind. She gave me a gold trowel to help me remember my week of laying brick in Vietnam. I love that. I keep it in my office. We had a surprise visit on Thursday at lunch when Jonathan Reckford, the CEO for Habitat International, showed up, and we were able to enjoy visiting with Jonathan over lunch, talking about the experience and how we can get more Habitat affiliates involved with the Global Village builds and supporting tithing for Habitat International. Sorry for the delay. My computer is going really slowly and it's not wanting to change pages. There we go. This was our interpreter, Ming Phuc Nguyen. Ming was just a sweet young man. He speaks English, learned that at the university in Ho Chi Minh City, and he interpreted between the families and the construction leaders and we volunteers, and throughout the week with anyone that we needed help with interpretations. He was always there for us. He worked right alongside us, was a very hard worker and just one of the sweetest young men. We've got him on our Facebook group for the Vietnam Big Build and continue to communicate with him. He's also quite the artist. This was the last day of our build. We had a dedication of the home. We got the home to about 90%, and they're going to finish. The family was going to finish off the rest. It was a lot of fun to get it to the drawing that we were set out to get it to a certain level, and we managed to achieve that. And they were just so happy that it was more than they expected to have happen that week. So it was a lot of fun. At lunch that day, they had an official turning over the keys ceremony to the families on stage. And so all 21 families came together to celebrate the beginning of the transfer of ownership to their new homes. And they were just all so happy and delighted. That afternoon, we got to choose a cultural trip. Some went shopping, some went to tour the countryside. I chose to go on a visit of the local schools, and I think I picked well. The kids were amazing. They sang to us. We played some games together, and it was very memorable. It was very hard to leave them at the end of the day on the bus trip. One of my favorite things in Vietnam was morning coffee. If you ever get a chance to go to Vietnam, strongly recommend having coffee in a local coffee shop. We would stop there in the morning before going to the construction site, and just the sights and smells and listening to the locals on their way to work, getting ready and catching up with each other, and just absolutely some incredibly delicious coffee. Austin Habitat for Humanity loves supporting the Global Tithe. For Habitat for Humanity International, we believe very strongly in the biblical foundations of tithing, that we should give from our hearts, not reluctantly or under compulsion, but as a cheerful giver. Up until 2018, we had given $892,000 to Habitat for Humanity International and tithe. We had a goal after going to Vietnam. I came back and was just in love with the work and committed to do more. We achieved our $1 million total tithe gift in 2021. And we decided on top of that to tithe an additional $100,000 in 2021, specifically for the reconstruction efforts after the Habitat Haiti earthquake that happened in August. We have resources in this country, and there's a lot of need around the world, and we do feel it's our responsibility to help take some of the blessings that we've had and share them with countries in need. And so we were just very thankful to be able to do that. And I just thank you for letting me share a little bit about my trip to Vietnam with you. I loved it. I look forward to getting to do another Global Village trip again someday. And I hope you've learned something from this presentation. Thank you so much.